Great. So hi everyone, welcome to today's live online learning session. Today we're going to be looking at Word, Microsoft Word. Let me just check that you can see and hear me okay. So let me just go back a slide. So on your screen you should be able to see my slides and you should also be able to see me. I've just switched my video on just briefly while we go through the start. So welcome to today's webinar. Just let me know if you can hear me okay by letting me know in the chat box. So up at the top right hand side, I think, of your screen, you should be able to see a button that says chat. If you just click on that button, a chat panel will sort of display, I think, on the right hand side of your screen. And at the bottom of that, if you just type in yes, just to let me know that you can hear me okay, and then we'll get started. Great, so everything looks okay my side, so I'm just going to get started. Any problems at all, please just type in that chat box. That's what we're going to use to communicate today. So any questions at any time, please just type in that chat box. So if you could use the chat box rather than the Q&A box, that would be great. Simply because I'm just here myself today, so it's quite difficult for me to see everything that's going on at one time. So if you could use the chat box, that would be great. Ask questions at any time, enter in comments, share any tips that you have or any experiences you have that we're talking about. As we go through this webinar. If you want, what you can do is you can sort of minimise your screen so that you can't actually see what I'm doing, but you'll still be able to hear me, and that means you can open up Word yourself and have a go at following on with the different tips that I'm doing as we're doing them. Some people find that that helps. Other people do find that that's far too confusing and they'd rather just sit back and watch. Either way is fine by me. It's your workshop, so you get the most out of it. Shortly after the workshop today, I'll send you an email with a recording from this session, along with a handout, so a sort of PDF document with all of the tips outlined in the document so that you can have a go yourself after this session. So make sure you download that. Yeah, make the most of this session. So here are my top 10 tips when using Word. So I'm going to go through each of these 10 tips. Now yesterday we did 10 tips on Excel and it was a very, very quick, it was slightly short of an hour, but it was very quick, quite hard to get through all 10 tips. So it will be quick and I'm just sort of scraping the surface of some of the tips within Word that I really want to share with you. So at the end, in fact, on the email that I'll send you, I'll give you a few other suggestions as to how you can get some more in-depth training with me. But for now, we're just going to do a bit of a whistle-stop tour of these top 10 tips in Word. And I think the main thing is that all of these tips will help you produce documents that just look really professional. And save you some time. So I know that you're really busy and that when you're creating a document, you know, the main thing is the words that you're writing, the information that you're wanting to get across. But we know that something that really looks great and looks the part is going to, you know, just be much better received as well. So all of these things will help you just tidy up those documents and help you create really professional looking documents in your workplace. So in order to keep everything running smoothly, I'm going to switch off my video for now. So you won't be able to see me because I will mostly be making a concentrating face. And I'm also going to stop sharing my slides and I'm going to start sharing a screen. So you should be able to see a Word document. So as I go through each of these tips, I'm going to do them, I'm going to sort of demonstrate how to use them on this particular Word document, which is just full of random text. I'm just going to sort of demonstrate how to use them on this, but as I say, if you refer back to the PDF that you'll be sent after this session, you'll be able to sort of work your way through it step by step as well. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing my first tip is using headings. And the reason that this is my first tip is because if you use the headings the way that Word intends you to use the headings, it will make your life so much easier when you come to do contents pages or other things like that. So, you know, it might sound a bit crazy and you might think, you know, that it's easier just to format the text yourself. You might have a point, but later on when you come to organising your document, it will be much easier if you've used the built-in headings. So by that I mean these headings up here. So let me just find a pen. Okay, spotlight will do. So I mean these headings here. Okay, so up on this styles section here, that's what I mean. So in order to do that, just simply highlight the text that is the heading and then click on one of these headings here. So I've chosen heading 1. So the idea is that, sorry, let me move that out the road. The idea is that heading 1 would be the first heading, heading 2 would be underneath that. You've also got subtitles, and if you click on this arrow here, you've got lots more options. So go for heading 1 when it's the sort of main heading that you want. Now don't worry, you're not restricted to these particular styles. So if you wanted to change the colour or the size or even the font of that particular heading, all you need to do is right click up here and choose modify. And then change the colours and styles to suit yourself. So let's go for a bold purple. And I'm going to just say OK to that. And that means every time I want to add that particular heading, it will be in the same format. Okay. So it's a really easy way for you to remember all your different headings, how you've formatted them. But more than that, we'll see later on when we come to do some more complicated things, because by choosing these styles, Word recognises that they're a heading rather than just some fancy text. So it's really going to stand you in good stead later on. Okay, so that's my first top tip, is to use this sort of style gallery, which is on your home tab. So if you can't see that, if you can't see this part here, sorry, if you can't see this part here, then it could be that your screen is just a bit too small. So maximise your Word screen, or it might be that you're using a really old version of Word. But you know, from about 2007, I think, onwards, these styles were available, so you should be able to see them. Okay, let's move on then to the second tip. So the second tip is around a thing called smart art, and this really allows you to represent text in a much more visually appealing way. So let's show you an example of that. So if I go up to the Insert tab and I click on Smart Art, I've got all these different sort of diagrams or graphics that I can insert into my Word document. I'm going to choose Process. I quite like this one. You'll see that there are loads to choose from. I'm just going to go for quite a straightforward one. So it gives you a preview at the side here of what it looks like. I'm going to insert that, and you see that not only does your graphic insert, but also you get this sort of window at the side here that just makes it easier for you to type in the text that you want in this particular graphic. So I'm just going to keep it straightforward and call it step 1. step 2, and guess what, step 3. And you'll notice that it automatically changes the size of the font to make them all the same and to really sort of maximise the space there. I can just click away from it when I'm done, and that's me got a great little graphic there to represent a process or to add a bit of interest when you're including a list or something like that. So it can be a really useful way just to break up some text in your document. Of course, once you've created your smart art, you'll see here that you've got a design and a format tab that appears. So you can click in here and you can change the colours to sort of suit yourself, quite nice and grey. You can resize it just in the same way as you would with a picture. And you've got some different styles here as well, so lots of choices when it comes to formatting it as well. So smart art, really good, easy peasy way for you to insert different graphics in your Word document. So let me know in the chat box if you think you're going to use smart art. Usually at this stage people have an idea in their mind of a particular document or some kind of concept that they think would actually be much better displayed as a graphic like that instead of paragraphs of text. Just let me know in that chat box if you've got an idea of how to use it. You don't need to tell me what it is, just tell me if you've got an idea. Right, so a few of you have got ideas as to how to use that. That's great. Okay, next up then is my top tip number 3, which is around using tables. So again, another way just to visually represent, display some information. Another easy way for you to break up some text in your document, and another way for your document to start looking really professional. So just simply click wherever you want your table to go. I'm going to just insert some space here. And again, on the Insert tab, we're going to Table. Now, a few of you probably know how to insert a table by clicking on these buttons here. But there is also this option here, Quick Tables. So there are some tables built in, and you see that some of them will look like calendars. If we scroll down, we have some other options as well. So let's go for this one. And then we can just change the text just by highlighting it and overwriting what's there. No problem at all. Okay, if we prefer to do our own style of table, again, just go to Insert Table and choose the number of columns and rows that you might like. And then again, you notice that these table design and table layout options appear. So on the Design tab, we can choose a nice design from all the different options there. So just choose a design that suits you and then just click into each of the different cells to type in the information that you want to display. So really easy way for you to produce tables that just look really professional, don't they? They look as if you've spent hours on it and it's really just a couple of clicks. Okay, moving on then to tip number 4. Tip number 4 is about inserting contents page. So I see so many when I go into workplaces and train admin teams on Word. I see lots of people manually typing in the contents page, which means that every time they add some content or take something away, they're having to go back up to their contents page and manually, type it in. So most of them have perhaps printed out their document so that they can make a note of all the different page numbers and type in their contents page. Who's guilty of that? Go on, let me know, confess in the chat box if that's something that you do, manually insert your own contents page and type in your page numbers. I know it's not just me. Okay, a few of you owning up to that, I can see. That's fine. So I'm going to show you a much quicker way of doing that, of entering in a contents page. So remember I said that using the headings was key. So when we insert a contents page, what Word is going to do is it's going to look for the different heading styles, and it's going to use them to create a contents page. So I've got a heading. If I just click on the text, I know that that's heading 1. I scroll down a bit, I know that this is also a heading 1, but perhaps this is a heading 2. So it's a kind of sub part of this particular section. I'm going to scroll back up to the top and I'm going to click at the very start of my document because I want my contents page to go first. And this time I'm going to use the References tab up here. I'm going to go to the References tab and I'm going to choose Table of Contents. And you'll see here there's lots of different suggestions of different styles that I could use. I'm just going to stick with the very first one. And that's me got my table of contents. So everything's on the one page, which is nice and straightforward for it, but you'll see that it's picked up the first heading, that second heading, which I won't even attempt to read out, and my subheading there as well. And you'll notice that it knows exactly what type of heading it is, so it has indented that subheading for me. And it's got all the page numbers in. So a couple of clicks later and I've got my contents page, and all I need to do is insert a page break here so that my contents page takes up the whole page. Then of course I've moved things, haven't I? So once, if you make any changes at all, you just click onto your contents page and click this button that says Update Table. And you want to update the entire table and say OK, and it will automatically put in the new page numbers, and it would automatically find any additional headings or remove any headings that you had taken away. So that's key at the end of, once you've proofread your document, made all your changes, it's inevitable that some of your text will move on to the next page and some of your page numbers will be a bit skewed. So always just remember and click to update your table, and that will sort it all out for you, all automatically. Okay, who's going to save some time doing that? You don't need to tell your boss, you don't need to tell anyone in your work. You've actually just saved yourself an hour or so every time you create a large document from creating your contents page. But I'm sure that's saved quite a few of you some time. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is my tip number 5, which is around inserting a cover page. Now again, this is just a sort of bonus. It's just a really easy way for you to insert something that makes that front page look really professional. So you could just insert another page here and create your own cover page, and that would be great. But the alternative is to choose one that Word has already designed for you and then make some changes to it. Much easier, much more professional looking and much quicker, which is the main thing. So if I want to insert a cover page, I go again up to the Insert tab and I choose this option here, Cover Page, and you'll see that there are quite a few already built in. All different cover pages. So let's choose this one. And you see that it knows where to put it. It knows that it's definitely got to be the first page. It's not disrupted any of the formatting from the rest of my document. But I've got this really professional looking cover page here. And then I can simply just click on the different text here and type in my own information, my own titles here. If I want to change that image, I can just click on it and change the image as I normally would. So I can go to pictures there and swap it for another image. Okay, any questions on that? Does that seem like something that you're going to make use of? Let me know in that chat box, because I know that when I'm running training in offices, that cover page again is really helpful. And what you can do is you can obviously customise it to your own company's colours, insert your organisation's logo and things like that, just to make it really professional. And then you can encourage everyone in your team to always insert the same style of cover page, and that just really helps everyone brand all the documents and publications from your business in a similar way. Okay, so that was tip number 5. So far, just to recap, let me quickly go back to these slides just to do a quick recap. So we've covered tip numbers 1 to 5. So we've looked at headings, and remember that's key for things like contents pages and a few other things that we'll come on to, but using the actual built-in headings not only saves you time, making sure that everything's formatted the same, but is also a really good way of you making the most of the other features that are built into Microsoft Word. So use the headings that are on that style gallery. Then we looked at smart art, so that was a way of you to insert a sort of graphic to represent some information, so laying out text in a different format to explain a point a bit better. We also looked at tables, which are a great way of displaying information, and remember those quick tables that are built in to save you designing your own table. We looked at adding a contents page, which will only work if you've used the built-in headings styles. If you've formatted your own text, it won't pick those up as actual headings. So inserting your contents page and remembering just to click Update Table when you've finished making all the changes to your document, so that it gets the page numbers right. And the last thing that we've looked at so far is that cover page. So again, just a really professional way to add a nice touch, make the very first page of your document look really professional. So I'm going to move on to the last set of tips. So the first thing I'm going to look at is page numbers, and then we're going to work our way through the last 5 tips there. So let's have a look at page numbers. Okay. Oops. So page numbers. So I don't think I've got any page numbers in this document. I don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to insert some page numbers. So again, on the Insert tab, I'm going to cross here to page number. And I want my page numbers to go at the bottom of each page, probably in the bottom right-hand corner. And you can see that it's added that there as a footer. I'm just going to leave it as is, but if I wanted to add any other text, I can go ahead and type that in just now. But all I wanted to do was add in some page numbers. And you'll notice that this page here is page number 2. That's page number 1. And my cover page doesn't have a page number because that's just the cover page. So that's the other good thing about using the features that are built into Word, is that it understands what it is you're trying to do, and it helps you. It puts the page numbers in at the right number instead of calling your cover page page number 1 and confusing everyone. So Page numbers, again, on that insert tab over here, and you just choose the style that you want, and you can see some previews if you just hover over each of the different options. Okay, so again, really nice and easy. This next tip, so tip number 7 that I want to show you, I've called navigation, but it's really around reorganising your document. So, for example, you've spent hours or days creating a document, and then someone says, oh, I think this section should go at the start. So you could copy and paste. You could cut it from here and paste it up to the top. But we know that that can sometimes not work out as planned. And sometimes that just adds a bit of a headache. So there is an easier way, and that is using the navigation pane. So to display your navigation pane in the first place, you want to go up to the View tab here and make sure that this box is ticked, navigation pane here. And it adds this pane just down the left-hand side of your screen, and that will show you either a list of all your different headings that you have. So you can see here I'm on the headings view, and I can see my first heading was called heading. This was my second heading in Latin there, and my sort of subheading, which is indented again, is here, and that was my heading for the table that we inserted. So I could use this view, or I can click on Pages, and I can see a sort of miniature version of each of the different pages as well. And that's really useful if you've got quite a big document and you just want to scan through and click on a particular page. It's a bit like how you might use PowerPoint, I suppose, but it's a really good way of you just flicking between one page and another. And the good thing about this view is that if I want page 3 to come before page 2, I can just click and move it like that. So in the headings view, if I wanted this table to go under this first heading, I just click and drag it across like that, and it's moved it for me. It's highlighted it as well, which is why it's a different colour, but it's moved it into the document where I wanted it to go, under that first heading. If I want to move it back, I can just click and drag. Okay, so that's much easier than selecting it and cutting it and pasting it. Just go into your headings view there and move them around to where you want them. Okay, so that navigation can save you lots of time as well. I would just keep the navigation pane visible, because I think this Pages view is really handy just to keep track of where you actually are in your document, and to see things like, does the page, you know, when I print it, is that page going to look good, rather than zooming in and zooming out when you're working on the main page. And this headings, use that to easily move the different sections of your document around. Okay, I'm not sure what happened there, but I think something just happened to my sound. Just let me do a quick sound check. Let me know if you can hear me in that chat box. Something just beeped in my ear. So just type a yes if you can still hear me. Great. Hazel can still hear me. Yeah, okay, so that means everything is still okay. Great. Not sure why that happened. Just to test me. Okay, so that's navigation. Yeah, really quick and easy way for you to juggle things and reorganize all the different sections within your document. Okay, my next tip number 8, is find and replace. So this will allow you to replace certain words in your document with just a few clicks instead of you having to scroll all the way through. So let's say, for example, you had made a spelling mistake in someone's name. So Word hadn't picked it up, but you know that you need to make a change there. So let's just look for a word that we might want to change. So let's say every time the word video appears, it should actually be videos. Okay, just something as simple as that. You can see the words here, and it's also down here as well. And we know it's elsewhere in our document. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a find and replace. So on the Home tab, I can click Find, or if I've got my navigation visible, my navigation pane visible, I can just use this search box at the top. And then what I can do is just type in the word that I'm looking for, and either hit enter or click on the search bar and use on the magnifying glass that was there, and you'll see that it's found several instances of that word throughout my document. I'm now going to go up on the home page, on the Home tab, and I'm going to click Replace. Okay, so I get a window that looks like this, and it says find the word video and replace with the word, and I'm just going to type in videos. I'm going to click Replace All, and it tells me that it changed that word 8 different times. So I'm going to say yes to that, and just make sure that everywhere throughout the whole document I've changed all instances of video to videos. You see that it's automatically changed it here and also here as well. And it should here and here. So lots of different changes there, just with a couple of clicks. So that again can save you lots of time if you've either made a mistake or if you need to change some details. So perhaps you're responsible for creating contracts with your suppliers or your customers, and you open up someone else's a sort of standard letter to one of your other customers and save it as for someone else. You want to just make sure that the first person's name isn't all the way through your document. Saves you having to read it from beginning to end. You know, searching for those words, you can just do a find and replace. Okay, just bear in mind that Word will find every instance of that particular word and replace all of them. So if you would rather do it step by step, you can just, instead of clicking replace all, you can just replace one at a time and do it that way. That slows the whole process down, but if you're not sure what it's doing, you can do that. Okay, moving on then. So we're almost there. Tip number 9 is the format painter. So those of you that were on the Excel one yesterday will know this tip. And those of you that are coming to Outlook or PowerPoint tomorrow will no doubt hear it again. But it's one of my favourite tips, and one that surprises me when people don't always know about it, and that is the format painter. So let's say, for example, that I spend some time just formatting this particular paragraph. So I want to make it a different font. Let's just go for Arial, shall we? I'm going to increase the size of it. I'm going to change the colour. I'm going to change the colour to a sort of dark grey, so it's not that easy to see the difference. And this is what I want this paragraph here to look like as well. It's almost like an introductory paragraph. Okay, I want to highlight the text that I want. I want to highlight the text in the format that I'm looking for. I'm going to go up to the Home tab, and just under Copy, there's this button here called Format Painter. Now, if you're using a smaller monitor than me, You might just have a yellow paintbrush. It might not say the words Format Painter. It will still be the same thing. So if you just have a small yellow paintbrush there, click on it, and you'll see that your your cursor changes into a paintbrush, and scroll down to where you want the new format to be, and then highlight the text. Okay, and that's it, copied all the formatting without copying the actual text down. And that's great because it will pick up formatting such as the colour, the size, the font style. It'll also pick up any indents or spacing that you've created as well. So if that's a particular issue for you, you know, when you, some people have issues with bullet points or indents and things like that. If that's a particular issue for you, as long as you get one of them right, then use that Format Painter to make the rest of them the same. Okay, so again, just this little yellow paintbrush here, and it even tells you when you hover over it, it tells you step by step how to use it. So that's my tip number 9. And my last tip for today, tip number 10, is about templates. Now again, this is in all of the Microsoft Office packages. It's in Excel and PowerPoint as well, but it's one that's not used all that often. I rarely visit a company who actually makes full use of the templates that are already built into Word, and I just think that it just makes your life so much easier, rather than having to, you know, that moment of staring at a blank page and not knowing where to start. Using the templates that are built in can really help with that. And all you need to do is just go to File and then New, as if you're creating a new document. Now, most people will just double click on this blank document without even thinking. But we can see, even just in this first page here, that there are lots of different styles built in. So for example, if I was making a poster or something, I can double click on this and then make the changes. So I can swap that image over, I can change the colours to suit the organisation, but it just gives me a starting point. So let's see what else there is. So there are different cards and things like that here as well. Here's a simple fax cover sheet. I'm not sure if anyone sends faxes anymore, but if you do, that's something that you can use. And there are different options here, so you can narrow it down by searching on the different options here. So I'm going to go for business. And there's even one for business cards. So you could, in theory, you could print your own business cards if you've got nice paper lying around. Lots of different options here. I'm going to look for a report. So I'm just going to search for report in here. Oops. And I'm going to use, let's go for this one. Just double click on the one that you like and it will open it up. Just going to close that section just to illustrate that then I would just change this to change the text and colours and everything else to suit yourself. And then just overwrite the text that's here. But it gives you some ideas into how to set it out for without you just staring at that blank page for ages. So really useful. Really useful. So that's the last of my tips. Oops, not sure what happened there. That's the last of my top tips for you. I'm just going to go back to my slides if I can. So you should be able to see my slides again. And I'll just pop my video back on as well so that you should be able to see me. So these are the 10 tips that we've just gone through very quickly, very briefly today. So the last 5 we looked at were page numbers, Just a really easy way for you to insert some page numbers into your document. Having that navigation pane open on the left-hand side of your screen is a real easy way for you to reorganise your document. So once you've used the headings, as we talked about in tip number 1, then the navigation pane will list all your different headings, and you can then just click and drag and drop them to whichever order you would rather your document was in. Find and replace, again, brilliant for swapping names or fixing spelling mistakes, or changing phrases that you just want to be consistent throughout your document. Find and replace is great for that. Then we looked at Format Painter, which is the same throughout all Microsoft Office applications. It's that little yellow paintbrush that just makes life so much easier when you're not entirely sure how you manage to format some text to look that good. You can use that paintbrush to copy the format further down. And lastly, we looked at templates. Why spend ages looking at a blank page, not knowing how to set out a document when there are some templates built in that will just give you that starting point that you need. So make use of the templates that are available. So thank you all very much for joining today's session. I really hope that you enjoyed it, hope that you got something out of it. I'm sure out of the 10 tips that we have discussed, I'm sure there was at least 1 or 2 that were new to you. So go ahead and practice them, because just watching me do it is not going to help you remember those particular tips. Have a go just now if you've got time, and just put some of them into practice. So as you know that today's session was free because it's Learning at Work Week, so there are a few other sessions planned for the rest of the week. I'll send you a note of what those sessions are in my follow-up email. I'll also let you know about training that I can come in and do in your place of work as well. And if you've not done so already, then please connect with me on social media, because that's how you will hear about any other offers like this. So thank you all very much, and hope that you have really enjoyed that. Thanks, Hazel. I'm glad you're going to put that into good use for your visitor information folder. Look forward to seeing that when you've finished it. Thanks everyone else for joining today, and hope you got something out of it. Okay, so thank you all, and see you later. Thanks.